How to go from an imposter to a professional. If I were asked what to do for a person who has discovered imposter syndrome, and I could give only one recommendation, I would advise not to wander through the rake, but to turn to a specialist, a psychologist, psychotherapist. This saves time, effort, and even money. After all, fearing to fully demonstrate his professional knowledge and skills, a person earns, if he earns, less than he could. With imposter syndrome, there is a conflict between the image of oneself as an expert and the image of an ideal spherical professional in a vacuum. In this case, the person believes that he does not really correspond to who the expert is. There is a discrepancy between subjective images, but it seems to a person that this is objective reality. To get rid of the syndrome, or reduce its severity, it is important to reduce the gap between reality and ideas about it. It is easier to deal with reality than with images. Especially if the field of activity is solid, those in which the criteria for a good result are measurable and understandable: builder, doctor, targetologist. There are standards and metrics that you can rely on in assessing your professionalism. If the sphere is soft, a designer, a musician, a scientist, a researcher, or a mother, what a hard worker, then it is more difficult to measure and evaluate the result, but there is a way out. Participation in professional communities and get-togethers helps a lot with this. On them you can communicate with real representatives of a particular profession, ask your burning question, understand that it is not the gods who burn the pots, and through this bring your ideas and reality closer together. One of the reasons for the discrepancy between the realities of the profession and a person's ideas about expertise in it is the lack of environmentally friendly feedback from significant people. The support of senior colleagues and mentors helps you understand what is really worth working on and what is already good. However, it is very important to find a community in which they do not hate, mock each other, but support. Especially newbies. Often people with imposter syndrome study endlessly without starting real projects. Knowledge, skills, documents confirming qualifications are always not enough. A specialist needs support and he looks for it in papers, but finds it in people. The identity of an expert is built on associating oneself with other experts. An imposter is when he called himself someone, assigned a role, status, and assessed the quality of work. When there is enough internal support, maturity, and adequacy, then this process does not cause hesitation, fears, and the word imposter is not colored negatively. If you don't have enough of your own supports, then you can cultivate them by working with a psychotherapist, or you can not worry and use the external ones mentioned above. Every person needs someone, and you can't cope with this symptom alone. Psychologists, by the way, are more familiar than anyone else with this unpleasant feeling, I'm not a professional. We need more diplomas. Because we work with something that is difficult to measure, the psyche and plus the result of the work does not entirely depend on us. There is also a second side, the client or the group.